So I made a mobile game called Titan Strike, and today I'm going to be finally breaking down one of the most requested topics I get as an indie developer. How much money did my mobile game Titan Strike actually make in its first 6 months? Now, before we dive into the specifics, a quick rundown. Titan Strike launched back in April, and since then I've been using Google AdMob to monetize it. I've had some ups and downs, but I think the numbers will give you a pretty clear picture of what to expect if you're thinking about making and launching your own mobile game. So let's break things down month by month. Alright, so let's start with the first month, April. This was the launch month, and the game had a decent amount of momentum, mainly due to the fact that I already had a pretty good following on social media to help promote the game. In fact, one of the videos I made about it did quite well, and I think that led to a pretty strong launch. So, how much money did I actually make? Drumroll please. The total earnings came down to £289.67. Now, if you've ever launched a mobile game, the first month is often the most exciting, but it's also where your game has the most eyes on it. April's earnings reflect that initial interest, but also the fact that I didn't have a massive marketing budget, albeit I had no marketing budget as I do this on my own, I don't have a publisher. Most of this traction came from organic downloads and people discovering Titan Strike on their own or through my social media channels. So, for a solo developer releasing my very first official mobile game, I was honestly pretty happy with the start. Now, moving into May, I saw a slight bump of £313.78. Now look, the game is still new, still being discovered by fresh players on the Play Store and the App Store, but these months are where a lot of games live or die. And fortunately, Titan Strike was doing alright. But keep in mind, nothing was guaranteed at this point. Now before we see if I was a financial failure, I have something to say. But first, a word from today's sponsor. Today, I'm diving into the latest expansion of one of my all-time favorite MMORPGs, Final Fantasy XIV. And the new expansion Dawntrail takes everything to the next level, with new dungeons, storylines, and even an increased level cap to level 100. And the best part is that you can try right now for free up till level 70 with unlimited game time. Whether you're into crafting, epic raids, or just hanging out in the Gold Saucer playing minigames, there's something here for everyone. And don't worry, if you don't have any friends to play with, like me, party up with NPCs and keep progressing at your own pace. Oh, and did I mention the 2 brand new jobs, Viper and Pictomancer? It's time to get creative. The game even has a brand new graphics update. The game's first major graphic overhaul adds a host of visual improvements, including enhanced texture and shadow resolution, and improved material qualities for characters and environments. And you guys know how much I love talking about graphics and visuals with all the game dev stuff that I do. So make sure you click the link in the description or the pinned comment to start your free trial today. Thanks to Square Enix again for sponsoring the video, and let's jump back into the video. Alright, let's talk about June. Now this is where things got interesting. June's earnings were £363.13. Now look, it's a nice upward trend from May, but nothing explosive. I was starting to realize that while the game had its dedicated players, I was also seeing that initial launch buzz fade away. Here's the thing about mobile game earnings. They're incredibly volatile. You might get great numbers for a few days and then have weeks of slow downloads and low ad revenue. The best thing you can do is focus on creating a good user experience and hope people stick around long enough to keep watching those ads. But then came July. Now July is the best month I've had so far, with £458.49 in ad revenue alone. And I say alone because this whole time I did have a little bit of money coming in from microtransactions. In-game, you could pay for a premium currency to be able to purchase skins in-game to change what your character looks like. Not many people actually ended up buying this, and I think it might be due to the fact that there was a limited number of skins to actually purchase. But all in all, I made this much money from microtransactions. And now look, with me having my best month yet, I still knew that this was not sustainable growth. It was more of a best case scenario for a solo dev with limited promotion. Still, 458 quid in 1 month from a mobile game was something I was really happy with. I could see the potential here. But then came August. This is where things started to slow down. The earnings for the first time dropped down to £321.88. And in September, it dipped even further to £179.32. Now look, this isn't unexpected, especially without constant updates to the game with new content or major promotions. Mobile games often hit a peak and then start to fall off. My plan for Titan Strike was to keep updating it and to add more content, and while I do still have that planned, a lot of things happened in my life which sadly meant that I wasn't able to focus on things. I ran into financial issues and I was unable to even have a PC to work on updates until recently. So yes, to everyone wondering, there is a new Titan Strike update planned, and I'm hoping to release it sometime next month. And look, I do believe the key is keeping those core players engaged, and I think I could have done more on that front. But there was another issue I ran into, and the reason why the drop-off was so strong. The reason is that I stopped making any money from ads on Android. The reason for this is I actually ran into an AdMob violation I wasn't even aware of. I checked my emails one day and I got an email from AdMob saying that my game violated one of AdMob's terms and conditions. In-game, you can press this ad button and it'll give you some of the premium currency after watching an ad. I played a lot of different mobile games and they all had buttons that looked very similar to this, and that's why I took inspiration from. But apparently you now must show how much you will be getting from the rewards before you actually show the rewarded ad to a user. And because of this, I haven't been making any money off Android, and while I did submit a patch, it hasn't been approved yet. So for now, I won't be making any money from the Android version of the game, except for microtransactions. So by October, I'm currently sitting at around £179 per month. And look, it's looking pretty stable, it's not seeming to be dropping, but it's definitely not where I want it to be long term. But I genuinely believe this is a part of the process. I'm learning what works and what doesn't. And this experience has given me a lot of insight for future projects, and I hope for you being able to see how this process looks and to see how much money I was able to bring in, you can see that it's not just a case of making thousands of millions of dollars. As if you can't promote or market your game or keep your player base engaged, you'll start seeing the numbers fall off, where they might not even reach the heights you wish for your game to reach in the first place. So what have I learned from these 6 months? For one, mobile game revenue can be incredibly unpredictable. You can have a great month followed by a slow one, and sometimes it's just out of your control. Ad revenue in particular depends on a ton of different factors like player retention, how often they open the game, and of course how many ads they actually view. Look, if I could go back in time, I'd probably focus more on consistent updates and marketing, while that was sort of out of my control as I didn't even have a computer. While look, it's tempting to make the game just run on autopilot, staying engaged with your player base can make a huge difference. The games that succeed long term aren't just the ones that are fun to play, they're the ones that keep on evolving. So, in total, Titan Strike has made a little over £2,000 in 6 months. Now look, that's not enough for me to retire on, but it's a great start in my opinion for my very first mobile game. And the experience? Absolutely worth it. If you're thinking about developing your own game, just know it's a long game, pun intended. You're not going to make it rich overnight, but the more you learn, the better your next project will be. So what's next for Titan Strike? Well, I'm still working on some updates, but I'm also planning something else. If you want to stay up to date, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hey, if you got a question about game development or monetization, drop it in the comments below, and I'll be trying to answer as many of you as I can. Thanks for watching.